Well, good morning, folks. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to a very, very warm and balmy southeast Louisiana. Well, folks, that's right. It's warm and balmy. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on the 17th of June. I got to get out here early, do a little bit of work on just the colonies that seem to be having problems. There's only about 5 of them that I know of, and a couple of them being those 2 that I split up, the drone laying queen. And I already went in them. I'll let you know that because I got in a hurry and said I'm getting out here and getting with it, and I was just going to report back to you guys, let you know what I found, because the other day I saw like no activity on the nuke, and I figured experiment gone wrong. But then as I opened them up, I said let me go get the camera and show you what I've seen already. Okay, quick pause in the video for those of you that may have not seen the video about the drone laying colony. The drone laying colony was a couple weeks ago. I will link it in the video in the description and up in the corner of this video so that you can go back and watch it. But a quick update of what that was all about was I had found a drone laying colony about a month ago, and I just didn't have time to get to it, so I left it. You know, it wasn't no harm, no foul, wasn't making honey. I could remedy it later, or it would just do what it did. And so I did finally get to it a couple weeks after I found it, and went through with all intentions of pinching the drone laying queen and combining them with somebody. And when I found it, I caged the queen really quick just so I could do a quick look through the entire hive, and I turned around and found a second queen. And so one was older looking and one was young looking, and I couldn't, exactly diagnose what had happened, whether this was a new queen that just emerged or what was going on. 2 queens in a colony is not unusual, it happens, but I'd never seen it in a drone layer. So now I did not know who the drone layer was. So in that video, I split the hive. I basically took 5 frames. That's what you see me doing in this little clip. That's actually from the video. And I took 5 frames and took the newer looking queen and put her in the nuke, and I left the bigger queen in the original box, really thinking she's the drone layer and the other one's not. Let's make sure. So before I pinched any kinds of queens, I wanted to go in and just separate them, and that's just the way I chose that day, was to do a nuke. And I chose the nuke and put her in there and moved her to another stand, and that's what we're doing today, is seeing what happens, see which one ended up being the drone layer, or were they both inferior, or what in the world was just going on here. So that's what we're doing in this video. Wanted to get everybody up to speed that may have not seen that video. So let's get back to it, and let's go see what I found. Gotta be quick and keep things closed, because whatever flow there was has ended. You saw the spot checks of the colonies. We got honey. Not a lot, but we got honey. Well, I shouldn't say not a lot. We got a lot. It's a relative term. But comparing to where we were last year, yeah, not a lot. Or the year before, or the year before that, or the year before that. But nonetheless, we're grateful, right? Grateful. But I don't think there's much of a flow, although they were working something yesterday. But it could be these beehive heads full of pollen, and it could be pollen binding their hives. Is that a word? You know, when they get pollen bound, do they pollen bind? I don't know. So anyway, I'm out here working some colonies, trying to get it done this morning. Got other stuff to do, so let's take a look and let me show you what I thought was going to be a dud of an experiment, and what I found. So here we are at the nuke that I split, and I saw like no bees coming out of this one day, and I thought to myself, well, there should be some, but then I thought, well, I shook a bunch of nurse bees, so probably not. When I opened it, sure enough, hardly any bees. So I'll open and show you, like no bees, lots of honey, so they didn't get robbed out. And you can see I already got the queen caged. And look, they're gathering on her. There's like literally a handful of bees, and that's it, not a lot. Of course, there's some field bees out right now, but I saw the queen, and I looked for eggs, and I'd see 1 egg here and 1 egg there, no brood. I did see some capped drone brood, and now this was our little flighty queen, and I don't know if you can tell, there she is. She's almost like she shrunk. See how she keeps her wings out, and she's small. She's got her wings always in a flighty position, running, always running. So I figured this was the new queen, based on what we saw in that colony in that video that I will link above. But look at her. I'm not gonna let her go right now because I got something else to show you. So yeah, she's just flighty and runny wings. And when you see those queens running around with their wings all, you know, spread out like in a V, just running and running, and they're running all over, usually that's a lot of times like a virgin queen. So I had a lot of suggestions on what I could have done with this colony. Some said what I should have done, but and everybody was pretty much right. There's so many different things I could have done. A lot of you said put a double screen in. When I look back at that, I probably could have done that. Of course, as hot as it is, it's probably maybe just as well I didn't. And actually, it was just what I happened to do at the time. I didn't think it through. But yeah, a double screen would have worked. Others said just do an excluder. That would have been good too. But that I didn't want to do. I didn't think of it, but I didn't want to do it once I saw your recommendation. And the reason why is I definitely want to get them apart. I want the bees apart. I wanted the pheromones apart. So had to have been at least a double screen or this. Then one viewer said, well, only one said this, and one suggested a supersedure. But then another viewer, and I can't remember who it was, regular long-time viewer, so if you're watching, you'll know, said, hey, you probably have a new queen and an old queen, and maybe that was just that overlap period. And that hounded me for the last 2 weeks. I thought, yes, was probably right. I thought, So when I opened this up and I saw hardly any bees, I thought to myself, and only, no eggs at first. I thought, and then I saw 1 or 2 eggs. I thought, that's what I did. I split a virgin that needed to be mated off. So I was happy to see her and find her in here. So I know if she was a virgin, at least she got back. But then I look how she's running around. But I did see an egg or 2. But just 1 egg here, then 1 egg over here, and then a drone brood. And I thought, well, the drone brood must be left over. No regular brood, nothing. So I didn't do anything. I did just what I'm gonna do right now. And I closed them up with her in that cage, not letting her out, careful that the cage didn't come open, until I could see what the other colony was doing. So here at the other colony, I've already had it open too. And this is what just made me decide to come get you guys instead of just update you. Because I honestly thought when I saw no bees on that nuke, and then when I opened it up, it verified, I said, I'm just gonna update them in a video. But it was not a experiment gone awry, I don't think. And I'll show you why. So this one has a good amount of bees, and I gotta check the lid. We don't want to have our suspect queen on here in case she's the right one and not the wrong one. And so I'll look again as I did earlier, and they're a little bit ornery, but it's getting to be robbing season, so bees tend to get like that in the summer. I used to think it was the heat, and it probably still is the heat some of the way, but I think a lot of it's to do with they know there's no honey coming in, and they know robbing is taking place. So summertime they get a little ornery. So I'm gonna put some smoke on them. I'm really just relaxing today, trying to get through about 5 hives that are problem children and see what we got. So, pulled this frame first. I'm gonna go right back to what I did, show you what I did. Pulled this out. Oh, it's all full of honey. So they got plenty of food. That's good with our flow the way it was. At least I know they've got food for the summer, and there's pollen. Of course, we'll always have to watch them. And as you can see, this one's full. But they're ornery. Not bad, but they're buzzing me saying, leave me alone, it's hot, and we know you're here to rob us. But I'm not. Y'all know my hive, my frame holders that Brian gave me, how I do. I love these things, they work really good. 3D printed. And when I'm just doing small inspections, not in a hurry, I like to use them. All right. So, let me get some more smoke on them. I'm not looking for the queen necessarily. I just want to see where my hive is, because remember, we were trying to determine who was a queen layer and who wasn't. So the first frame I pull up is this one. And look what I saw. Look at that, I saw this side. That's normal brood, folks, and a sheet of it. That is normal brood. That is not a drone layer right there. So that larger queen was the good queen, and the little flighty one was not the new queen. She was the drone layer. She was the inferior queen. And this side, same way. They even converted some of that. Now there's a little bit of drone in there, but she's gonna have that. It's probably left over because drones, of course, take like 26 days to come out. So, pull out the next one because you gotta verify. I mean, but that's verification enough, really. I pull this one out, and I got the same result. Normal brood, and some has even emerged, and these numbers are great. And there's our queen right there. So I'm gonna leave her alone. She's a success story. She was the one. I didn't see her on the first pull, so I'm done. I'm happy. This hive will grow as a single in the winter. We determined who was who. And we got a colony that should thrive. They got food. They're heavy. Pick them up. They're pretty heavy. I'll obviously keep an eye on all my colonies for starvation in the dearth, but I'm happy with that. So, whoops. So that's a good deal. So what I'm gonna do with that one is I'm gonna pinch that queen and shake those bees. There's very few bees. Take the frames away, and I'll probably feed them back. Put them in the freezer for now and feed them back later. So very, very pleased with that. Hey, an experiment to see who was who. Everybody had great ideas. I just happened to do that. It worked out, and maybe it worked out for the best for them being in a separate nuke. But maybe the same thing would have been good with a double screen board, but also I didn't have to lift any more hives off each other. So the double screen can be kind of painful sometimes because you gotta lift that top box off. And based on the bees she lost, I probably didn't need to have 10 frames in there and just her, because it could have been bad. All the bees were going to come down to this brood anyway. So we got bees all throughout the frames, way better than they were. Definitely not a drone layer. Very pleased. So time to put them back together. Guys, that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna throw this frame back in. I'm glad I was able to bring you the follow-up. Hope you enjoyed this follow-up. Hope you guys' season's going great. I'm hearing a lot of good things. A lot of people are having, there's several folks, I'm thinking Missouri and Arkansas, I'm hearing some folks that are having bumper crops this year already. Some people in South Georgia area, some of the Carolinas having kind of the same thing we are, Mississippi, but then some of them are picking up on flows. So people are picking up honey. That's good for the areas that had the problems, for the areas that aren't used to your big flows. Hoping it's a bumper crop for you guys, and that you guys have a great season. All right, well, I'm gonna let y'all go. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week, and may God bless you. We'll see y'all later. I tell you what, they all got in on that cage. They rallied around their queen, around their drone layer, but too bad, so sad. I won't show that on camera, but she's a goner.